Can I tell you a secret? I started my business with flyers. Before anything else, all I had was flyers. I didn't start with a big truck, a fancy setup, or some perfect business plan. I started by asking, what can I do? Well, I knew I could serve people, and I knew I could mow a lawn. So I made a bunch of flyers, got on a mountain bike, and started going door to door, passing them out around the neighborhood. At the time, I remember thinking, is this actually going to work? I needed about 12 or 13 people to sign up in a 3-week period. As soon as I hit that number, I had a whole new problem. I thought, oh shit, now I've got to go buy some equipment. That's how this started. So if you're just getting started in lawn, snow, or landscaping, and you're trying to figure out how to get customers without overcomplicating the whole thing, door-to-door flyering is still one of the simplest ways to do it. In this video, I want to show you what it actually takes, what we really do, how we track it, how we calculate the cost, and how this turns into real customers and real revenue. Now, I want to say this up front. I've been in this industry for more than 30 years, and today I've got multiple crews working. If you're a solopreneur, your numbers might look different, but the practice is still similar. You've got to get in front of people, show up in neighborhoods, and use a system that turns effort into customers. That's what flyers can do. Let's start with the flyer itself. Your flyer does not need to be complicated. It needs to be clear. It needs to tell people what service you're offering, show some proof, include your contact information, and give them a reason to respond. That's it. On ours, we put the service right at the top. Then we include proof photos. Then we leave a place for the homeowner's name, address, and email. After that, we list the other services we offer. Then we include our phone number, email, socials if we want them, our logo, and our website. It's simple on purpose, and it can be even simpler still. You don't necessarily need your socials on there, or even a website or a logo right at the start, as long as they can get in contact with you. The flyer isn't supposed to do all the selling for you. The flyer is supposed to start the conversation. That's the job. For us, the flyers are usually about 3/4 page size. I just had 10,000 flyers made for around $600 to $700. When you break that down, each flyer costs about 7 cents. That number matters, because once you know what each flyer costs, you can start thinking like a business owner instead of just a guy with a mower. Now you can ask better questions. You can ask how many flyers you need, how many you can put out in an hour, how many quotes those flyers can produce, how many customers they can create, and what kind of return you're actually getting. That's how you build a real system. Now let's talk about delivery. This part is work. It isn't passive, and it isn't glamorous. This is boots on the ground work. This is how you reach out and get in front of people. Here's a real example. It usually takes about 2 to 3 hours for 3 guys to put out around 600 flyers. That works out to roughly 100 flyers per hour per guy. That number can vary based on the size of the properties, the distance between houses, and how much walking is involved. Sometimes we even have to drive between sections. That's why I don't want you getting hung up on one exact number. What matters is that you track your own pace so you know what it takes in your market and your area. Now let's talk about the maps, because this is where most people are way too loose. We don't wing this. We have maps. All the green properties on those maps are my clients. All the orange properties are homes being serviced by other companies. The white ones are properties we don't know yet. That gives us a clear picture of the market we're working in. The green properties show us where we already have density. The orange properties show us that people in that area already pay for service, which means there is demand. The white properties show us there is still opportunity. That information matters because it helps us stop guessing. We can see which neighborhoods are worth pushing harder in, where our routes can tighten up, where the competition already is, and where there are still possible clients sitting there waiting to be reached. When you're just starting out, it's okay and even smart to just cover your local area. Depending on the size of it and what you have available, you don't want to be covering a whole city when you haven't even got a truck yet. Here's a real example from this time of year. From 1 week of flyering, I put out 16 quotes. Out of those 16 quotes, I've got 8 confirmed. That's a 50% confirmation rate. Those 8 clients equal about $320 a week. If we keep the math simple and just use mowing, that's around $40 per service. Over 28 cuts, those 8 clients turn into $8,960 just for mowing. Just for mowing. That number doesn't include spring cleanup, mulch installations, shrub trimming, or any of the other services those customers might buy from you later. So when someone says flyering doesn't work, what they usually mean is that they either didn't do enough of it, or they didn't track it well enough to understand what it was actually producing. A flyer is not just a flyer. A flyer is an entry point. It is the first contact. It can lead to mowing, cleanup, trimming, mulch work, recurring services, and referrals. One flyer can turn into much more than one job. That's why you can't just think about the first yes. You've got to think about the long-term value of getting in the door. Now let's talk about making the flyer. You can build the whole thing in Canva, and it doesn't need to be difficult. Use a clean layout. Lead with the service. Add proof photos. Make the contact information obvious. Include the other services you offer, and make sure the whole thing is easy to read fast. That's it. The homeowners should be able to glance at it and know exactly what you do and exactly how to contact you. Print according to the area you're actually trying to cover. Then use the maps, assign the sections, track the drop, track the response, track the quotes, and track the closes. That's how you turn flyering from a random activity into a repeatable lead generation system. And I want to say something to the guys who are just getting started. Don't ignore simple things just because they seem too basic. Basic is where businesses get built. I started with flyers because that was the move. That was the first thing that made sense. I didn't choose it because it was exciting. I chose it because it worked. Sometimes, especially when you're starting out, you've got to stop asking what sounds exciting and start asking what actually gets results. So if you're trying to get your lawn, snow, or landscape business off the ground, here's the takeaway. Make a clean flyer. Print enough to matter. Know your cost. Map your target area. Go door to door. Track the results. Keep doing what works. That's how you get in front of people. That's how you build local density. That's how you create real opportunities. And that is how a lot of businesses get started. It's how mine did.